Personal branding is the digitization of your reputation. You can fake followers, but you can't fake trust.
But Rory, I'm just me. I don't do anything interesting. There's nothing really worth sharing in my life.
You are most powerfully positioned to serve the person you once were.
I am less than 1,000 followers. Like, how am I going to build a business around that?
10% of your audience will invest 10 times more than they already have if you make your offer more sexy. Just be helpful.
Today, we've got Rory Vaden of Brand Builders Group, and he's going to be sharing the 3 objections that are keeping you invisible online. He's also going to share the video a day system that you could start tomorrow and the math that quadruples revenue without a single new customer. It is a great episode. Let's get into it. Well, Rory, welcome. Let's get into it.
Yeah, man. Welcome. You and mi casa, su casa.
I know. We are here in your beautiful home. Thank you so much for having us.
Of course.
And we finally connected in person.
Finally.
We have many mutual friends because you've been behind the scenes helping so many big personal brands. And I want to get to the root of why a personal brand is so important in today's day and age. So let's just start there. For everybody watching and listening who's thinking, okay, I've heard about this personal brand. I think I've got a personal brand, but why is it important today?
Well, I think the answer is because of trust is the answer. The reason why your personal brand matters is because people are becoming more skeptical than ever before. And I think if you look at the era of sort of personal branding, it used to be about information, then it was about application. But now I think the future is it's about reputation, right? AI can give you information. It was like the internet could give you information.
Yeah.
AI is now giving you application. It's doing stuff for us. But what it still doesn't give you is a reputation. Is can I trust you? Who have you helped get results? Right? So I think we actually think of personal branding, and we've defined this for years, and we define it in the book as personal branding is the digitization of your reputation. So it's not logos and fonts and colors, and it's not even funnels and websites, and that it's your reputation. And so we all do have a personal brand. You can't say, "Oh, should I build one?" No, you have one. The question is it the one you want, and how big is it, and how trusted is it? Because it's the same as a reputation. So I think that's why it matters. In a world of AI, there's been an increasing amount of noise already and an increasing amount of competition already, but like the content is just continuing to explode. But the question is, can I trust you, who you are as a person? That's reputation. And the modern word for that is personal brand.
How do we create trust then in a personal brand?
Okay, so if you made a list of who are the people that you trust the most in your life, like let's just look at it that way. You go, who do we trust the most? All right, well, first of all, you trust people that you see most often, right? So it's like, I've seen you around and you've seen me, even though we're just like meeting for the first time. But it's also, so you trust your family, you trust people in your neighborhood. It's also why interestingly enough, we trust celebrities because we see them all the time. We don't actually know anything about them. I think of like a movie star, like they lie for a living, like they pretend for a living, and yet we all trust them. Why? Because we see them. We trust things that are familiar. We trust the things that we see. So when you go, how does that apply to a personal branding? It actually matters a lot that people see you, right? So one of our clients and mutual friends, Amy Porterfield, she just is now doing her podcast in video. We've helped her with her book. We've helped her with her speaking. Our team also helped her build her video studio, which I'm so excited about because she's such a trustworthy person. And I think her trust is going to go through the roof because now people are going to see her, not just hear her, which is also powerful. But so that's the first thing. The other thing that we trust is we trust people that we know things about. Right? So if you're on that list of the 10 people you trust the most, there's a good chance you know what their strengths are. You probably know what their weaknesses are. You know what they're like when they're grumpy, right? Like you know what they like to eat. You know some of their backstory. That is how trust works. When we know people, when we feel like we have people in common, trust extends from that. So sharing, one of the things that we talk about in sales conversations, when you share about people you both know, that builds trust. And that's one of the things that social media allows us to do is to connect with the human behind, it's like the humanity behind the notoriety. It's the personality behind the professional. And I think that is super powerful. We get to know you, and we have to feel like we know who you are. I mean, it's amazing. Like, people will connect with me because I was raised by a single mom, and my mom sold Mary Kay. And, when I go speak at an event, it's like I'll have all of these things I talk about, and they're like, "Oh, I remember you. You're the Mary Kay boy," because I tell this story about, being raised by a single mom. People remember that. And then I think the third thing that what causes us to trust people is we trust people that we learn from. We trust pastors, we trust doctors, we trust, lawyers and counselors and mentors. We trust people who we learn from. And when you start with that question, what causes trust, that really informs our entire content marketing strategy for the brands we work with. As we just go, people have to see you, right? It's not about you being famous, but they have to see you. Right. Not for your benefit, for their benefit, because they're more likely to trust you if they see you. And so we do a lot with speakers, right? And a lot of our clients speak on the biggest stages, Ed Milet, and people like these that speak on huge stages. We know a lot about the speaking world, and obviously video matters. They have to feel like they know you, which is personal story matters a ton. Yeah, right. It's like AI doesn't have a personal story. Right. And AI doesn't have relationships of people you both know. And AI doesn't have a favorite food. And increasingly our humanness is going to become our uniqueness. And then the third thing is people have to learn from you. So you might as well be teaching everything you know, because they're not paying you for information. They're paying you for application and for reputation. So that's trust for us.
So quick heads up, everything Rory lays out today is saved in a free kit in the description. So just relax and enjoy the chat.
What would you say to the person who is hearing this and is thinking, oh my gosh, that feels so uncomfortable. I don't want to share my life. My life is private. I want to keep my life private. What would you say to that?
Yeah, well, the first thing I would say is you don't have to share everything about everything, right? Like there is a thing as such a thing as oversharing. And also, I think people sometimes feel like they have to like air their dirty laundry, and you really don't. It's really your backstory that people connect with, and you can share whatever details of that. But I think what I would say is share your struggles and share your failures. You can share some successes too from credibility. Credibility has its place, but it's really our failures that create the connection. And you don't have to share pictures of your kids. You can. There's whole reasons why you would not want to do that, and but it's share whatever you're comfortable sharing. I mean, look, I am a hardcore Bible thumping Jesus freak, and AJ says you should publish that as a podcast. Like you should actually publish it, and I was like, no, not going to do that. Not comfortable with that. And she's first thing she said is, well, I wasn't asking you. And I was like, okay.
And for context, AJ's your wife.
AJ is my wife and my business partner.
Yeah.
And she's the CEO of Brand Builders Group. I'm the CMO. But, I said, babe, what if our customers leave us? Like, what if people think we're weird? What if our corporate clients say, oh, we can't hire you, to come and speak at our event now that we know that you're a Christian? Or what if people in our membership had a horrible experience? And she said this to me. She said, are you living for the approval of man? I was like, oh gosh,
man, I hate those.
I know. It's like wife. So anyways, we did publish this podcast it was so long. It's 15 episodes. It's called Eternal Life, 7 questions every intelligent skeptic should ask about Jesus. And it's not meant to convert people. It's just meant to go, here was my questions and my struggles. Here's what I researched and here's what I found. Anyways, we released this as a separate podcast. And we did lose customers. There were 2 customers specifically who were important to us. They were like in our membership. They had been there for years, and they were like, we've had a bad experience with church and Christians, and they're like, we just don't feel comfortable. And we lost 2 customers, and it was painful. We've also had hundreds of people flock to us because of that. Not because they agree with us, not because they're all Christians, but because they trust that if we're willing to be open about that, then we're willing to be open about anything. And I mean, we have a lot of people. We have atheists that work with us. We've got Muslims that are part of our team. We've got agnostics. Like even in our own team of employees, we have all different faiths, which is totally fine. But there's a level of trust that happens from people knowing who I am. They don't hire me for that. I'm not a pastor, right? I never went to seminary. I'm just a nerd with a microphone. But the same rigor that we apply to the science of personal brands and to the art of speaking and the business of book launches and these various things that we've done, that is what I did. So you don't have to share everything, but you share who you are.
It's interesting because a mentor of mine years ago said, "Love me or hate me, there's no money in the middle." And I have never forgotten that. And the lesson just becomes more and more clear as time goes on that, I like to make everybody happy.
Yeah,
I want everybody, to have a good time. But at the same time, like if we want to build our business, we've got to be willing to stand for something. We've got to have a philosophy, a mindset, an approach to life, values that we live by. And as you said, that brings people in. But it's hard. Like, I'll just point blank.
It's scary.
It is scary because you don't want to have to deal with all the wrath that may come. It's not to say that it's always going to come, but it may come. And sometimes that can feel heavy. And I remember a very specific incident when in our business, and it was probably one of the hardest periods that I've ever experienced as a leader in our company. We had just done a big promotion and we had thousands and thousands of clients and customers just join us. And then shortly thereafter, Black Lives Matter was taking place. And our son is Black. And in the community was a discussion that was started. And there was some really hurtful things that were said about Amy and I and the fact that we have a Black child. It was very difficult.
Yeah.
And there were equal parts like people that were, in our corner, and then there was a few that were not, but they were very vocal.
Sure.
And it's in those moments that I think, get tested. As much as we want to avoid it, I think it's a huge opportunity for growth. And in that moment, what I did was I took the most vocal person that was saying all these hurtful things and the most positive person, and I invited them both onto a live broadcast to talk about it.
Wow.
And then I also invited, she's like a little angel. Her name's Kimberly McCormick. And she was like this fairy godmother that was like giving me advice in the background. And so all three of us came on. And I'll never forget that moment because behind the camera was my wife. And so I gave the woman who said the hurtful things the opportunity to speak. And behind the camera, my wife's like, she's like, just, and the whole time I'm just saying to myself, just stay calm, just stay calm, just stay calm. And so this woman said all the things. And I said, is there anything else? And she said a few more things. I said, is there anything else? She said, no, it's okay. So I went to the next person. And then Kimberly wrapped it up. And then I put a bow on it. And I just said, this is a great discussion. I'm not here to convince you one way or the other. Here's where I stand in all of this. And what happened afterwards was something that I did not anticipate at all. It was like a rallying cry. And our community came so close and it created that trust that you were talking about. So the very thing that I was looking to avoid because it felt uncomfortable, it felt hard, and it was not a topic or discussion that I at all wanted to go into. And it was very personal because she was, these attacks were about our family and are the reasons why we adopted. Very personal. I just wanted to hide. But at the same time, like it was an opportunity to lead, and it created this galvanizing effect in our community. And it's exactly what you're talking about. I believe now, in hearing you saying it, it was a moment of creating tremendous trust.
Totally. Yeah. And those are delicate situations. Generally speaking, it's share what you do on every day, right? Like think of your life, the way that we kind of tactically talk about it is your feed is what you do. Your stories are who you are. So if you just think about like an Instagram feed, right? Like the stories is like, hey, I'm hanging out with Stu today and this is what I'm doing. Or you're talking through like, this is what I have going on today. Here's how I'm feeling. This is what I'm struggling with. It doesn't have to be a Hollywood production, but it is a little bit of like reality TV. Like your stories are like, this is what is going on a day in the life of. That's a part of your life, right? You've adopted a child. Like that is unique about you. AI will never have adopted a child from South Africa. Like that is AI can take your entire book and can teach people, someone can rip your book and dump it into AI and someone can get all of Stu's insights on, just like they can do that with my book. But like they can't talk to Stu, the dad of a black child that they adopted from South Africa. And I actually believe that the future of business will be what it has always been. It is people doing business with people.
Okay, I'm going to push back though.
Yeah.
Somebody watching, listening is thinking, okay, share more of my life. That's cool if I've got an interesting life, but Rory, I'm just me. I don't do anything interesting. I, run the same schedule. There's nothing really worth sharing in my life. So why would I even begin sharing it?
Yeah, well, I had a good friend tell me I should give the disclaimer that if you suck in real life, you will also suck online. So, I do think as content creators, we should try to lead interesting lives. But what makes a share interesting is not what you're doing, it's what you're feeling. But I'll tell you the shortcut. And we didn't know this when we started Brand Builders Group, but we know it now because we've seen this pattern play out hundreds of times. For all of us, for all of you, you are most powerfully positioned to serve the person you once were. At the end of the day, expertise is not about, letters after your name. It's about that you have conquered, you have gone through the challenge yourself. You've lived through something, you've experienced something. Lots of people could read about membership site optimization, but you've spent 18 years in the trenches with some of the biggest personal brands, like behind the scenes, living it, breathing it, thinking about it, looking at the data, talking about it, and you've had wins and you've had losses, and it's like you can't just manufacture that experience overnight. And so I think all of us are qualified and equipped to serve the person that we once were.
So you're saying, take a look at like where you've come from and, who you have been throughout this journey. And as you said, you're best equipped to serve those or who you once were. But what if like somebody's thinking, but then what? Like, yeah, I've been through a bunch of stuff. I've, done a bunch of things, but can I really build a business around that?
I mean, you can. You can build a business around all sorts of stuff. But yes, tactically speaking, and this isn't the only way to build a personal brand. So you do tactically ask, what challenges have you conquered? What obstacles have you overcome? What setbacks have you survived? What problems have you moved past? Therein lies the ripest and richest opportunity for a deep well of credibility to teach.
I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about like, what does a personal brand make possible? Because I think we hear about it, but one of my curiosities and fascinations is how people are leveraging their personal brand. Talk to me a little bit about that. What are you seeing people do and what has it made possible in their business and ultimately their life?
So a couple of the things that makes possible is being wealthy and well-known, right? So that's the title of the book. By the way, if anyone wants this, we give it for free. If you go to freebrandAudiobook.com/Stu, STU for Stu, right? So freebrandAudiobook.com/Stu, you can get this book for free on audio.
That's super generous.
Give it away. It's great. So you can walk through that. So on the surface, it's money and it's being well known. The reality is we redefine wealth is part of what we talk about here is I used to think wealth was an abundance of money. And that was because I grew up, I was born in a trailer, raised by a single mom, and we just couldn't afford box cereal. And I didn't have Air Jordans. I had Air Jordache. So I just never had. And so to me, I used to think wealth was an abundance of money. Then I became an entrepreneur and I thought wealth was an abundance of time. And I was like, oh no, the real thing is you want to have time freedom. And I don't believe that anymore either. I really believe today that wealth is an abundance of peace. And that's what real wealth is just peace. And so I think, what does a personal brand afford you the ability to create? I mean, yes, wealth, yes, notoriety, but ultimately at the end of the day, I would say it's peace and it's impact.
Yeah. My shift for me happened recently around personal brand. I mean, I've been in business for myself for 24 years. I've been online for 22 years. I've been focused on memberships for 18 years. And the way that we always generated new business was we ran ads and we built our email list, and then we sold our offers to people that were on the email list. So personal brand was kind of like this side thing. It was like, didn't really take it too seriously, wasn't too intentional. But there was a couple things recently. Like one was a friend of, I think both of ours, Nicole Burke, who lives in Nashville. She runs a Instagram account called Gardenary. And last year when I was publishing my book, we were publishing around the same time. She's about a month ahead of me. So we were kind of, sharing and note-taking with each other. And so she had done her launch for her book. So I called her up. I said, "And Nicole, how'd it go? Like, what happened?" She's like, "Well, it went pretty well." Now, she's built a pretty big account, like millions. And she said, "So we did 4 Instagram posts, and we had 30,000 plus people sign up for the webinar. On the webinar, we had 11,000 plus people show up, and we sold 4,000 copies of the book." I was like, what? And then I'm doing the math in my head. Like on a good day, we'll pay $5 a lead. So 30,000 leads, that's $150,000 that we would have paid to get the same number of leads.
Opt-in for that
webinar. And even then, what Nicole has shared with me is that those leads are, when they come organically from your personal brand, are 2 to 3 times more valuable. So it's really not $150,000 worth of leads. It's more like $300,000 to $450,000 worth of leads. And this is when my eyes started to open up. And I was just like, my gosh, like things just get easier. Registrations become easier. Sales become easier. Doors open up that would never open up before. And it comes back to the very first thing that we talked about, is that trust. And this is when I was like, now's the time. We got to take this seriously. We can't just rely on ads, because ads are getting more and more expensive. It's becoming harder and harder. It's more and more competitive. But if we put our attention into building the personal brand, it makes so many other things possible.
Amen. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, we've never run ads, so I need you to teach me how to do ads. But we've done everything through reputation. So it's because your personal brand, i.e. your reputation, is a trust accelerant, right? It's a lubricant for the entire process. Everything goes faster. And, trust must take place before there's a transaction. That's like one of our brand BBG mantras. It's like trust has to take place before there's a transaction. And so it's like you can fake followers, but you can't fake trust. You get it off reputation. You have a lot of those relationships. It's not from your ads. It's because of who you are offline, right? And I think that's part of the big thing that's coming back, is this resurgence and this realization of like, offline is greater than online in terms of depth of trust.
Right.
Online is fabulous because of scale, right? And global impact and reach and all of that.
Yeah.
But I think the other thing is, one of the things that we're pretty good at is making a lot of money from a very small audience.
So let's unpack this, because, we just threw out some big names who have millions of followers.
Yeah.
And somebody watching and listening is like, that's great for them. But like, I am less than 1,000 followers. Like, how am I going to build a business around that? So let's unpack that a little bit.
I love that. Okay, yeah, so let's talk about that. We can even use 1,000 as the number. So we've built, just to give you, we are about to have our third 8-figure business, and I've never had more than 100,000, like I think we have maybe just over 100,000 followers now. Okay, which is not nothing, right? But it's nothing compared to
millions.
Yeah, a lot of our clients have millions. And there's a difference between reach and revenue. Generally speaking, reach is a strategy to go wide, and really revenue is a strategy to go deep. So I'll give you I'll talk you through one of our frameworks. So this comes from our phase 4 8-figure entrepreneur. Well, we've got 12 different curricula inside our total curriculum. But on the monetization strategy, there's something that we call fractal math. All right. And so the principle of fractal math says this: 10% of your audience will invest 10 times more than they already have if you make your offer more sexy. So sexy is an acronym, SEXI. It stands for speed, execution, exposure, and intimacy.
Got it.
If you give them an offer that delivers it faster, it's more done for them, execution. It gives them exposure, puts them in front of your audience, or intimacy. They get more up close access to you. That's making an offer more sexy. If you do that, then 10% of your audience will invest 10 times more. So let's use your...
This is good because I thought we were going to go in a different direction when we started going.
All right. So let's use your 1,000. Let's just say that someone had 1,000 customers and they sold a $30 product.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to go nerd a little bit, but not too bad. Okay. So just stick with me here. I'll break it down. So if you had 1,000 customers who bought a $30 product, that's $30,000 in revenue.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you ask the average person, okay, how are you going to double your revenue? Their mind would go, get another 1,000 customers. That's not wrong. It's just the slowest, most expensive, and hardest way to double your revenue. Because the most expensive customer is a new customer. Right? So it's not wrong to do that, but there's another way to double your revenue, and it's using fractal math. So if you had 1,000 people give you $30, we know inside that 1,000 people that 10% of them, which would be 100, will invest 10 times more, which would be 300. So 100 of those 1,000 would pay you $300 for something else that had increased speed, execution, exposure, or intimacy. And then it continues. Out of those 100 that gave you $300, 10 of them would give you $3,000. And not only that, out of the 10 who gave you $3,000, one of them would give you $30,000. So you've got 4 tiers there where we have quadrupled the revenue without adding a single new customer, without running a single new ad.
What I hear you saying is that we're sitting on a gold mine.
Yes.
And there's as you said, percentages and percentages and percentages of people who are willing to pay us more at, exponentially higher levels.
Totally. This is why one of the reasons you and I are so aligned, because in a membership model, right? Like literally a customer staying 1 month is the exact same revenue as someone paying for their first month.
Right.
And you go, but getting that person to stay a month should be exponentially easier than getting a new person to join.
Yeah.
But nobody focuses on getting that person to stay. They're just like off to the new. And everyone's consumed with viral, and they're consumed with millions of followers. And then we had this woman named Bonnie Wan who had no team, never been on national TV, less than 1,000 followers. She outsold the celebrity with more than 10 million followers because she was willing to do the offline reputation-based, relational types of things. The point that I'm really making is that everyone is so consumed with the width of their reach that they're overlooking the depth of their impact. Let's use you as an example. What changes the world more? Somebody with 1 million followers, where 1% of those people happen to see a 60-second post every 30 days, or one family who adopts a child?
One family who adopts a child.
I mean, you certainly would say that. I would say that. So impact is not solely measured in reach. It is also measured in depth. And so
what's the next steps then? Somebody's got 1,000 followers. Let's continue with that example. As we look to wind down, what would be their action items to move on from here, to be able to, begin generating more revenue with that following of 1,000 people?
Totally. One thing, little plug. If you go to freebrandcall.com/Stu, freebrandcall.com/STU, we will do a call with you and we will talk about this. So everything we do is all human relational. So we'd love to hear your story, understand your business model. Where are you at? So you can just request a call with our team and we can talk through it. But so basically there's a number of different strategies here, but the concept is give those people an opportunity to raise their hand to say they're interested in more. Great example is literally what I just did, right? Is to go offer to talk to them. Not a webinar, like a conversation.
Wait a minute. What?
like a human, like one-on-one conversation, right? I don't know how many thousands or tens of thousands. I mean, this is your podcast, so millions and millions of people who will hear this, right? There will be a few dozen people who say, I am vibing with this and I want to learn more. Doesn't mean they're ever going to become a customer of ours. Doesn't mean they're going to give us any money, but it means there's something that I've said where they go, you know what? I am curious enough in this to go, I want to learn more. Offer a call, a phone call, or do a text message with them one-on-one. That's it. And, you know, one of the other things that is one of our other big mantras in this book is that we say, if you do your job right, your customer force will become your sales force. Your customer force will become your sales force. So that's the other thing is spend time making sure your current clients succeed.
Yes.
That's if you do that, it's the only marketing you will ever have to do.
Yeah.
Like if they crush it, right? So it's like we've had 13 of our clients that have grown their annual revenue more than $1 million a year since working with us. We've had over 115 clients become national bestsellers. I think we've had 6 people have TED Talks go viral. They go, when they succeed, everyone goes, how did you do that? And they go, if you want them to say Brand Builders Group or insert your company name. And that's where the magic is.
As we look to wind down, what can people do tomorrow to begin building that trust with their audience?
First thing that I would do, most tactical thing that I would do before if you have no time, no team, no technology, no offer, not even sure you want to do any of this stuff.
No name. You're nothing.
Like literally, first thing you can do, make a list of 60 questions that your perfect prospect has and answer them one at a time, talking to your phone with a video every day. And just post one video every day, no longer than 60 seconds. Answer one question and don't say, hey, good morning, everybody. How you doing? Don't say any of that. Just go like, I get asked this question a lot, blah, 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 blah. Or if you've ever wondered, just start with the question. That'll count as your hook. Question is the hook. And then answer the question. And no call to action, no ManyChat, no webinar funnel, no lead magnet, no ad. Just literally answer one question every day on video. And one of my favorite stories about this is a gentleman named Ian Cognac, who he joined Brand Builders Group. Like at this point, it's like 4 years ago. And he's like, I don't understand the technology stuff. And like, I don't have a team and And he had a day job at the time. And we're like, just do this. And he's like, well, the only thing I'm on is LinkedIn. And we're like, then just do it on LinkedIn. He did it every day on LinkedIn. He became one of the top sales influencers on LinkedIn.
Wow.
He made over $1 million when he quit his job. So he was like part-time working for like a year. The year after he made $1 million, 3 years in, he made $3 million last year.
Wow.
And his whole model is still to this day, I don't think he does it every day. I think he does one a week now, but it's like, it's just, he answers a question on video. No fancy lighting, no fancy camera, just be useful.
Well, I think of Jefferson Fisher. Every day, he would create a video on his way home
in his car,
from the office, in his truck, and would answer a question and would give people, advice around that. And then he was out. And his only call to action was, if you like this, follow me. And that was it. And he grew his following in less than a 2-year period to more than 6 million plus. But it was on the back of what you said. He was just being useful, just providing answers to questions.
I need to use that example. He's perfect. He's not a client of ours, but he's a great, he is the epitome of that.
Yeah.
It's really, really good. And, what I would say, Stu, is like, at this point, if somebody is watching this and they're kind of having that, like, if they're having that prompting of like, gosh, maybe I should be sharing my story. Like, maybe I should do this more. Like, maybe I should do this. So one, go to request a call with us. But the second thing is to know that calling that you feel on your heart, we believe is the result of a signal that's being sent out by other people who need you. And those people actually need you way more than you need them. right? You're doing it to build a business, to create impact, to like have legacy. Those people are seeking and searching and begging and pleading and could literally quite possibly be on their hands and knees praying for answers to questions that you know like the back of your hand. Why? Because you've spent your whole life doing it. And when we say you're most powerfully positioned to serve the person you once were, it's because you've already walked those roads. You've already been down it. And the real reason to do it is not to make money or to be famous. It's to make an impact and go, I'm not going to let someone else go through the struggle that I went through on my watch when I can do something about it because I've been there. And the only reason that you wouldn't do it is because you're scared. You're scared that you can't figure out the tech. You're scared you're going to look stupid. You're scared of what your friends are going to say, your arch nemesis from high school. Like you're scared about all this stuff, but fear is so self-centered and you only feel fear when you're thinking about yourself. But there is no fear when the mission to serve is clear. When you're focused on just helping the person on the other, and it's like, don't be fancy, don't be smart, don't be qualified, don't be the world's greatest, just be helpful. That's it.
Well said, buddy. Thank you so much. This was such a great conversation. Dude, we went way longer than I thought. I was like, I was enthralled with what you were saying. Where's the best place for people to follow up with you?
Yeah, so only place to go, freebrandcall.com/Stu, freebrandcall.com/Stu. You also can download the audiobook for free. That's freebrandAudiobook.com/Stu. But that's it. That's if you're curious, it's that. And man, brother, I feel like we're kindred spirits. Like we believe so many of the same things. And so what an honor to have you in my home and that this worked out while you were on the road. And
yeah, I don't think there's a reason for me to leave. I'll bring Amy and the kids here. Buddy, that was awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you, man.
So good, right? If Rory changed your thoughts about trust, reach, and showing up online, you are going to love the episode we got coming up next week. We're going to be talking to Summer Deep, who turned a cookie decorating hobby into not one, not two, 3 different memberships and a global teaching business. Plus, we break down exactly what was holding her back before she made it big. Subscribe so you don't miss it, and remember to grab Rory's full playbook free in the description.